I will say it again. Everything in Linux is a file. You know where files live? In directories. Directories are at the core of the structure of the Linux file system. They are what makes Linux work. Without directory structure, your Linux system would just chase its tail in a circle into oblivion. Directories are also a great way to keep yourself organized. This is B from Tay Talk Tech, and today I'm going to explain Linux directories. Before I get into that though, I've got a favor to ask. If you like this type of video and want to see more content like this, make sure you are subscribed and hit the bell button for notifications. Lastly, let me know what you liked, didn't like, have any comments, questions, concerns, or emotional outbursts down in the comments below. All right, let's go ahead and get into it, and let's switch over to the desktop. Today we're going to be working inside of Fedora. And one of the things that I want to say about directories is, or one of the many things that I want to say about directories is that Linux calls them directories, Windows calls them folders. These are the same thing. Now, no matter what your skill level in Linux, whether it's through the command line or the GUI, you will interact with directories. Now, let me show you what I'm talking about here. So we've got ls and we've got my home directory, which has 8 directories in it. Now, let's go ahead and go over here to the GUI file system, and we've got those same 8 directories. So reinforces the point. Now, your home folder is a directory that has directories inside of it. And you can have directories inside directories inside directories inside directories for for infinity. Now, let me show you the home directory real quick. Let's just do an ls. We'll do we'll do /home, and then we can see that I'm the only user on this system. So yeah, see, and that's the directory right there, and these directories are all inside of that directory. Now, on a Linux system, they're going to start with everything is going to start at root, which is also sometimes referred to as /. And this is where everything starts. You can think of this as the base, the roots of the trees, where everything, the trunk, the branches, and all that kind of stuff branch out from. Now, let me show you an image here, and I will link the location of this image down in the down in the description below. Now, and here's a good visual representation of the Linux file system. You can just see that there's all these different directories, and each of them has their own individual purpose. That's not something I plan on covering in this particular video, but if that is something that you do want to check out, you do want me to cover, go ahead and let me know down in the comments below, and that's something I can consider. And it's actually something I have been thinking about, is maybe going into some more information about each one of these directories, and just to give everybody a little bit better understanding of what each of these directories does. Because, you know, when you start in Linux, you could just be like overwhelmed by the just pure volume of information that is thrown at you, especially with the file system, because the file system is, I don't want to say it's hidden, but it's definitely not front and center when we're looking at Windows. So, you know, it's much more present when we're talking about a Linux system, and some of the distributions will take that approach as well, and kind of obfuscate it, if you will, in their implementations. But but it's just much more prevalent now. There also is a man page that's dedicated solely to the purpose of explaining the directory hierarchy, and that's going to be man file hierarchy. And I actually have a dedicated video on this, so go check that out if you want to learn more about the individual directories. All right, so yeah, that thing is super useful, super useful. I still reference it from time to time. I by no means am an expert, and I never will pretend to be an expert on Linux, because there's something that I could always be learning or doing better in the Linux world. So now I want to kind of cover just a few commands that are associated with it. And you've already seen one of those, which is ls, which is just the list command. That's going to allow us to see the information that's going to be inside of the directory that we're currently in. You also have the print working directory command, or pwd command, and that's going to allow us to show us, hey, where am I at? And this is going to tell us right here. It says home and /b, and you're like, oh, well, you can do that in this right here. But I'm like, yeah, that's great, but it's not always going to be there. It depends on which kind of Linux system you're accessing. Now, if we're talking about a Linux system that is maybe part of an embedded industrial system, they may not have that. But you still got to go in there and do your updates and all that kind of stuff. So you want to know how to tell where you're at. And the other one is going to be the cd command, which stands for change directory. And we can go to /home, and there we go. See, we were able to change the directory, and we can also go to cdb, and then we're going to be right back where we were. So yeah, that was an introduction to Linux directories. If you like this video, check out my one command playlist. Got a lot of great stuff in there. I'll keep adding that in the future. Thank you very much for watching my video, and have the greatest of days.